Well, hello and welcome. I'm Rebecca Radice, and we are live at another Post Planner Social Media Boot Camp. And as always, I am joined by Post Planner CEO Joshua Parkinson. Hey there.
Hello, good people.
Hello, hello. Looks like you're in the office today.
I'm in the office in San Francisco. Got me a little room here,
Very
ready
nice.
to help some people out.
Got your coffee already? Got your caffeine on, so you're all
Got
ready
my
to go?
coffee right here, a little
Uh-huh.
espresso in the house.
Ooh,
Yeah.
very nice. Yeah, I've moved on from coffee to tea. So
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I don't
But
know.
I also got a water here, so I can move on to that at some
There we
point.
go. Uh-huh. So today we are talking about probably one of my most favorite topics, so which is goal setting, and really pulling everything together as far as your social media efforts so that you have an understanding of where you're headed, of where you're going with your social media, and then also how to track and measure. And today, what I love about how you've kind of set up this training, Josh, is we're going to start from square one. So you're really going to walk us through the process of setting up goals, showing us some examples of exactly how we use goal setting within Post Planner, and then we'll get further in the weeks to come into more advanced strategies on how to implement those and really get those going within your own business, because I think that's probably one of the biggest struggles most people deal with is how do I even know if I'm getting the results I want out of social media?
No doubt.
Yeah. So I'm going to let you take it away, and yeah, are you going to be screen sharing?
Yeah, I'll be screen sharing a little bit, back and forth. So, yeah. Thank you, Rebecca, for the intro. So, yeah, let's dive right into it, guys. I'm going to step back a little bit, talk about goal setting and why it's important. I'm a firm believer in this idea that, if you don't set explicit goals, specific goals, then you won't get specific results, right? You won't get results. There's a famous saying that what isn't measured isn't managed. And I think that's true, not only in business and in social media, but also in your life. Um, I recently, just last year, I just turned 40. So the big 40. And after my birthday in the summer, I was kind of thinking a lot about my life, and what I had done, what I had accomplished. Those natural kind of thoughts you have when you turn 40. It's supposed to be halfway through your life, right? So you kind of got to assess and see what you've done. And I just thought, I have accomplished a lot, but I want to, set some explicit goals for what I can do for these final 40 or 50 years that I live. So I actually went in November, and I created this Google sheet, and I listed just a bunch of stuff that I wanted to, that I really truly wanted to do in my lifetime. These kind of life goals. I not only did I make a big list, but I also, one of the sheets is a calendar. And so I broke up all of the years that are the next 50 years of my life, or the next at least 25, while I'm in working age. I got 25 years until I'm 65. Put out 25 years, broke those years up into seasons, winter, spring, fall, summer. And it's basically a calendar for my goals, right? So not only am I going to set goals, but I'm also going to identify when I'm actually going to achieve them. So, just for a little bit of context, I wanted to share that with you guys because it's a public spreadsheet that I've worked on. You can check it out here. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you a little bit, just to give you a little context. Let's see here, Sharon. Okay, cool. So here's my life goal sheet here. And as you can see, I got winter, spring, summer, and fall, and I got all the years. Here's 2016. I got my age, I got my kids' age, and I got my parents' ages, right? So I have those all planned out till 2040, and I'm already plugging stuff in. Here are the actual goals. I'm an outdoorsy guy, so I have a lot of goals that pertain to doing stuff outdoors, climbing mountains, doing rock climbing walls, areas, skiing, water, a lot of water sports. So I put those out there. I put some travel goals with my, countries that I want to visit in this period coming up, last half of my life, and then just some other goals. I want to build Post Planner into a $100 million company. I want to learn French. My wife's French. My kids speak French, so I want to learn how to speak French as well. Learn a jazz piano and several other things, and where I want to build homes in my life. So I share this just as an example of, look, I believe that if I don't write this stuff down and basically make myself accountable, so that in 10 years time I look back on this calendar and I see, this will be filled in with a bunch of stuff all the way through, let's say 2026. I look back and I didn't do those things, and I look at these goals and outdoors, and I see, oh man, I never did these. I'm gonna feel pretty bad about it, right? I'm gonna, I'll be measuring what I did, and if I didn't do it, then I'll be accountable for it. And my idea is that having written these down and putting them here and having scheduled them, it's much more likely that I'm actually gonna pull it off and be able to do all these things. So I want to just give you that example, because it's not only in business and social media that the goals are important, but also in life, and that it's writing things down, and you can manage things if you measure them. Now with that, I want to move on to the way we set goals in our company at Post Planner. So we've had a lot of changes in the last year, and one of the big changes is we instituted something called OKRs. OKRs, and what that acronym OKR stands for, it stands for Objective and Key Results. This is kind of a technique that a lot of big companies are using. I believe it was started at Intel, but it's very much used in Google and many other companies in Silicon Valley and here in my area, a lot of tech companies. And what it is objective and key results basically means you set goals, you set objectives, and then you set key metrics that prove whether or not you're achieving your goal, right? So I'm going to give you kind of an example. So that something that's kind of similar to my one of the goals in my life goals. This isn't particularly one of my goals, but a lot of people have the goal to play guitar, for example, right? They want to learn how to play guitar. So if you used OKRs for that example, play guitar is basically your objective. That's your goal. That's your objective. I want to learn how to play the guitar. So you would set that objective. That's your first step when it comes to OKRs. The next is that you would identify the key metrics that demonstrate whether or not you're achieving it. So one of those metrics, and there'll be many. You don't just set one metric for the objective. You set several KRs, several key results. One of those, and as an example, is being able to play chords perfectly, at a certain tempo, right? Let's say 90 beats per minute, right? Being able to play chords at 90 beats per minute perfectly. That is the key metric. And then step 3, after you've established that key metric, is to establish a target, to set your target, right? So you have your goal. You want to play the guitar. You have one of your key metrics that you can play chords well at a certain tempo. And then the next thing is to set your target, which is I want to be able to play 5 different chords, in 5 keys. So let's say I want to play C, D, F, G, and A, right? You have those 5 chords that I want to play. That's step 3. You set your target. Step 4 is that you get a current actual measurement of the current status, right? So let's say that currently you can only play C and G perfectly. Therefore, you have 2 out of the 5, which brings us to step 5. You record how close you've come to your target. Now remember, your target was 5. You set the key result at 5 chords that you can play on your guitar. At this point you can play 2, so 2 out of 5 equals 40%, right? So you've achieved 40% for that KR. So when you look back at that objective of play the guitar, being able to play the guitar, you have a numerical data there that shows you, where you are currently and how far you have to go. You want to play the guitar. Your KR, again, to review, was being able to play chords. Your target was 5 chords. You can currently do 2, so you've achieved 40%, and your OKR score is 40%. That's how they measure these. So as far as the OKR, your recorded score, this is how you want to think about it. If your score is above 70%, basically, so if in that chord example, if I set my goal at 5 and I measured my current status and I was at 4, then I would get an 80%, right? If your OKR score is above 70, what that tells you is that you're not being aggressive enough, right? You haven't set your goals high enough. So in that case, say that I can play 4 chords and I have an 80% score, then I can look at that and say, look, Josh, you're not being aggressive enough. Why are you aiming at 5? You should be aiming at 10, right? So if I aimed at 10 and I can play 4, then suddenly my score goes down to 40%, and I know that I need to get up way closer to 70%. So if your score is above 70%, you know you're not being aggressive enough. If your score is below 30%, on the other side, you're probably being a little bit too aggressive. You might want to consider lowering your goal a little bit, your KR a little bit. So you're trying to keep things in between that 70 and 30%, and constantly adjust your targets upward so that you can continually be improving. And then, because you're measuring this in a numerical way, you're pretty much held accountable, right? And one really good way to really keep yourself accountable is do what I just did, which is I just shared that sheet with you with my life goals on it, and I've shared that with my family members, with my friends, with my colleagues. In your business, you should be sharing your OKRs among all of your coworkers, and and if you're just a solopreneur, share it with your husband, wife, your kids, your friends. Basically, the idea is here that the more public your goals are made, the more accountable you are to other people to actually achieve those goals. It's easy if I this life goals thing that I have, I could very easily just keep it to myself, and if I don't achieve those goals, it's my secret. No one really knows that I failed. But if I put it out there in public, then I'm kind of accountable. Like, people are going to come and say, hey, so did you pull off your goals last year? And I'm gonna be under pressure to say, yeah, I did these, but I didn't do these. So I highly recommend that once you set your objectives and your key results up, share those with your colleagues, with your coworkers, with your boss, and hold yourself accountable and have them hold you accountable. So just to review the scores of your OKRs. Remember, if they're too high above 70, if they're above 70, you need to be more aggressive. You need to set your goals higher. If they're below 30, you might want to bring your goals down a little bit. You need to constantly adjust as you go forward, and you need to hold yourself accountable. Now, I'd like to share there's several great articles that you can read. Just Google OKR and you'll find them, but this is a particularly good one that I'll share with you from Medium. Let me share my screen real quick while I go there. Here's the article right here, and I just wanted to highlight what I think is a really great quote. So here is the article. It's on medium.com. It's just called OKRs. Down here is just great. It says, do you ever wonder how successful companies, here's what I'm reading here, do you ever wonder how successful companies continue to navigate and grow? I often wondered how the companies I admired knew what direction to go, and it became apparent that the trick was being almost irresponsibly aggressive in growing key objectives with a talented group of people. And that was really what I was telling you just before, is that that you got to be aggressive. If your goals are too low and you're up in that 80, 90, 100% range of achieving them, then you know that you're setting your goals too low, and you should be more aggressive and set them higher. And that not only that, you should, continuously ratchet that goal up, ratchet that key result higher and higher and higher, and pretty soon you'll be doing things that you never even thought possible, right, when you started out setting the goal. So take a read of that. I think it's a great article. It really covers the OKR philosophy pretty well, and dig deeper using Google and other research methods. And then you'll learn a little bit more about it. Now that brings us back to really the point of this, the specific point of this. Let me get back here on the screen. This webinar, which is to set some social media goals. So before we jump into that, I'd like to show you how specifically what we're doing in our company, just to give you an example. So let me share my screen one more time here, and I'm going to show you our initiatives. So this is our OKRs for our company, and you can see these are mine. So we have a bunch of them down here. All of our members of our team have OKRs sheets. You can see Henry's, you can see Leanne's, you can see Diana's. They're all here, right? And so we're all being held accountable. This is public throughout our company, and this particular sheet is mine. So I have one of my OKRs is to increase monthly active users, monthly active paid users. Another one is to increase engagement in our app with the particular feature that is Find, the Find feature. Those of you familiar with Postponder, you'll know what that is. And over here, I have my targets. Let's see, I'm going to put that back a little bit. Here's February, the month of February. Okay, so I've set my O is over here, my objective. Here are 5 key results, right? 1.1, 1.2. So this is 1. This is number 0. This is number 1. That's my objective number 1. Here's my key result 1.1, key result 1.2, key result 1.3, etc. Right? So I've got my objective, I've got my key results, I've got my target here. So my target for particularly this one is that I want 80% of our users engaging with this core job, which is Find, right here. There's my target. My actual is 44.6, so not too great. I'm not too happy about that. I'm not achieving the 80%. So my attainment here is 55%. So 44 basically divided by 80 is 55%. So I got an OKR score here of 0.56, which I'm not happy about because I want that number to be higher, but at least I know that my goal is not too high and my goal is not too low, right? It's not above 70. I'm not above 70 here, and I'm not below 30. So I got a attainable goal here, and I'm gonna hold myself accountable, and I'm gonna record every month these metrics, right? And you can see I have a ton of them down here, right? And I'm holding myself, and most of them are red, which sucks. But I'm working on it. The yellow ones are between 50 and 70%, and the green ones are basically above 70. Now some of those are like doing certain events that are either you do it or you don't. You're either gonna have a 1 or a 0. Those are fine to be above. You achieved your goal, right? So anyway, I wanted to show you that for context because I've actually built a sheet like this for you guys for social media. So here it is right here, okay? So you can see it's a similar format, okay? You have your objectives here. You have a column for your objectives. You have a column for your key results, the metrics that are going to tell you whether or not you're achieving those objectives. And then you have your target of the key metric, the actual, what you're doing, where you're at right now, and then the attainment and the OKR score. Okay, so this is for February. We're gonna fill this in right now as I talk about these basic metrics that I think that we can start with. We're gonna kind of start at a high level today. We're not gonna get too much into the weeds with a million different metrics. Although there are a lot of different metrics you can measure, we're gonna start with the big ones, the big important ones. Okay. Now to do that, let's step back for a second and review something. If you guys have been on these webinars before, you've definitely heard my fishing metaphor, right? if you want to check this out, just go postfinder.com/fishing, and you'll get sent to this blog post, and in it there's an infographic. And I just want to remind you of this because this will help us come up with our first big metrics. The whole idea is that when you go onto social media, what you're trying to do ultimately is you're trying to get engagement, because the more your fans engage, the more likely they are to click on your links that go back to your website and ultimately become customers of yours. So the idea is that there's two types of content. I mean, the fish are your fans, you're the fisherman, you're trying to get them into your boat, which is your website. How do you do it? You go out and you chum the waters with really engaging content, so in this example, half your content is going to be that really viral stuff, that engaging stuff, quotes on images, videos, questions, anything that's not a link back to your website that you're posting, just to get engagement, get the conversation going, get people entertained, get people just interacting with you. That's the chum, right? You're getting the fish to bite, right? You're getting them active and engaged, and then once they're active, once they're really engaged with your content, you want to drop in those baited hooks, which are the links going back to your website, to your blog posts, to your ebooks, to your promo videos, etc. Okay, so this is really kind of the bare bone philosophy that I teach to everybody when it comes to to social media marketing. This is pretty much the idea, right? You're using social media marketing for distribution of your business, of your website. If you have a blog, if you have however you're getting customers online, you're using social media as distribution for that, right? You're trying to get it out into the world. And the great strategy for doing that is to post stuff that people love, right? That they engage with. Post this chum into the waters, get those fans, interacting and engaging, and then drop in those links back to your website so that they eventually get into the top of your funnel, right? And eventually become your customers. So with that reviewed, let's go back to our OKRs and let's figure out where we can really start with this. So I'm going to go over here back to the social media OKRs template. So let me share this actually, because this is a public one as well. So then you can have access to that. You kind of walk through it with me. So there's that. Let me know if you can't get in there. I think I made this public, so hopefully I'll see some of you popping in pretty soon. So okay, so we know that we want to get engagement, right? We want to put that chum out there and get our fans and our followers clicking on our content and engaging with it. So let's use that as one of our first objectives. Okay, one of our first objectives is going to be, let's say, increase Facebook engagement and reach. Let's put a number 1 in front of there just to make it clear. Okay, so that's our first objective. We want to increase Facebook engagement and reach, and then maybe also in addition to Facebook, we want to increase Twitter engagement and reach, right? And then maybe we can just even copy that down and replace Twitter with Pinterest engagement and reach, and then so this all about this engagement is all about that chum side of the equation, right? That we were just talking about, right? You got to get the engaging content out there. You got to get the viral photos, the questions. That's going to increase engagement and reach. And then the other side, the baited hook side of the fishing metaphor, is your own links to your own website, right? And so for that, I'm going to add this objective, that is increase social traffic. I want to increase the traffic coming to my website from social media sites. Okay, and I'm going to show you how we can get these numbers and measure them. Okay, but the first thing is that I just did number 1, what we talked about, right? I set my objectives, and go ahead and you can copy this entire. You can just click over here, and then just click Command C, Control C, copy this entire thing, and copy it into your own spreadsheet, Google Sheet, or Excel sheet, whatever you want to use, and then just you can fill in more down here. So I have objective 5, 6, and you can just keep on going. Now let's identify our key results. Let's start with number 1. We want to increase Facebook engagement and reach. Okay, well, what are a few key results we can talk about? Well, we can do 1.1 could be we increase number of fans. All right. We want to increase the overall number of fans we have on our page. Another one is increase people reached by our posts. OCD, so I got to put a little period there. And then 1.3 is increase post engagement. All right. So there we go. We got all those. Why is that so weird? Not sure what happened there. I'll fix that later. But we're gonna concentrate on February anyway. Okay, so there we go. We got our key results. Remember, that was step 2. We want to identify our key results. So we got, look, my goal is to increase Facebook engagement and reach. What are my metrics? Well, it's number of, let's put it this way actually, increased number of new fans, so we can measure the monthly amount, right? We have the metric is number of new fans, number of people reached, and number you know, the post engagement. Number of people engaged, we can say, okay? That's post engagement. We can do the same exact thing for Twitter. It's just a little bit different, but we'll say increase a number of new followers. Okay, cool. 2.2, let's do increase tweet engagement. A number of people who engage with our tweets. Reach is a little bit harder to measure on Twitter. I'm sure there are apps out there that can do it. Rebecca could probably give you some tips on that in a bit, but I'm just going to leave it at that for now. So 2.1 and 2.2. And then Pinterest, let's leave that for now because those will be similar when you can come up with other metrics, but just like I just did. But let's go down to number 4. And number 4, we're going to say increase traffic from Facebook. 4.2, increase traffic from Twitter. 4.3, increase traffic from Pinterest. There you go. All right, so I got my key results. I basically broke down social traffic into 3 different categories. You guys can go further than that, maybe Google Plus, LinkedIn, other sources, and you can track all those as well. But that's the important thing, all right, that you're going to be tracking all this stuff. Okay, so there we go. We got our objectives. We got our key results. What's the next step? Well, we need to set our targets. Now, one thing I recommend about target setting is that you need a little bit of context before you start setting targets, right? I could go over here and I could say, you know, number of new fans, I could say, you know, 100,000. But if I'm only getting, you know, 3,000 new fans per month, and it's going to be out of whack. So you can kind of skip over the set your target when you're really first getting started, and you can first get the currents, all right? So let's try that. Let's go get the currents. Let's start with this one first, objective number 1. And let's go over to Facebook. I'm going to go to Facebook Planner. There's our page. It's a nice St. Patty's Day. Let's go into Insights. You guys can do this too. So go into Insights, and let's see where we can start here. Okay, so remember, my first metric was, let's set this to the last 28 days. Let's pretend like today is February 29th, okay, the end of February, just to keep things simple here. And remember, I'm over here in my social media OKRs template. I'm getting the stats for February of 2016, all right? March just started. February was last month. Let's get our actuals for the last month. So what I need is number of new fans. So let's go in here. We got last 28 days here. Page likes. There we go. We got 28,442. So we can go over here and we can put in 28,400. I'll just keep it round here. Now you'll notice that my attainment just shot into the stratosphere because I don't have a target yet. We'll get to that in a second. Number of people reached. Let's go back here and see what we got. We got reached 48.7 million people. Damn, we didn't do too shabby last month. All right, so let's go back in here. I'm going to move this over so I don't have to keep on going back. Okay, so let's go, what is it, 48.7 million. 48.7 million. So we say 48,700,000. Is that correct? No. There we go. Okay, 48.7 million. Good. And then we got to do what? Post engagement. Okay, so we got post engagement was 5.6 million. Let's say 5.7. We'll round up 5.7 million. 5 points. Oops, we don't do 0.70000. Okay, cool. All right, so there we go. We got our actuals now. And obviously we don't want our target to be 1. We want our target to be high enough, right? We want to set this thing high enough and be aggressive with our target to make sure that the actual is not too high, not too low. So I'm going to say, how would we start at 50,000 new fans a month? Okay, that works. So again, let's review here. My objective was to increase Facebook engagement. My key result number 1 was to get increase new fans. My new target here is I'm saying, hey, I'm going to get 50,000 new fans every single month. And last month I only got 28,400, so I only got 57% of attainment on that. Now I'm accountable. Now I know where I am, and when we set next month's, which is over here, March 2016, which we're going to set in a second, we can make sure that this 50,000 is set there. So we have a nice aggressive goal. Okay, next one. 48 million. Wow, that's a big number. What could we do there? How about if we did let's say 90 million. 0,0,0,0,0,0. Okay, again, puts us in the 54 range. And instead of 5.7 million in engagement, let's just do 10 million. Okay, cool. So there you go. All right, so I got my first objective and I got my key results there. So I'm going for 50,000 new fans. Last month I got 28,000. I'm going for 90 million in reach, which is a big number, right? That's bigger than the country of Germany. And last month I got 48 million. Not too shabby. I'm going for 10 million engagement. Last month I got 5.7 million. Okay, cool. So now, man, I'm accountable, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 3 over here and I'm going to stick them into March. Okay, sweet. Okay, cool. I think that's pretty straightforward. We can do the same thing with Twitter. I'm not going to do that now, but because it's different, I'm going to move straight down here to social traffic. So hopefully all you guys have websites, you have blogs, you're doing business via your website and your blog. That's the top of the funnel for you, right? You're getting people over to your website. They are opting into your newsletter. They're opting into your email list, and then you're beginning to, nurture them and hopefully get them to become a customer one day. That's how business works, right? That's what we're doing out here on social media. So let's figure out how to measure this. What I was going to say is that if you have a website, you should probably have Google Analytics. So that's what we use. Let's see here. This is giving me a little bit of problem. Okay, here we go. So this is the Google Analytics for Post Planner website. Okay, you can see that we had about 800,000 users last month, and this is, let's make sure this is clean. So we'll do February 1st to February 29th. Apply that. Okay, cool. So we've got still about 750,000 users came during the month. Now, in order to get that social traffic, what you do is you go, let's see if I can remember this. You go down to, I believe it's acquisition. Yeah. All traffic, channels. So there you go. So you go to acquisition, all traffic, and then channels. And what you can see is you can see social, organic. You can see that we get most of our traffic from Google, right? It's because we've done so much content marketing over the last several years. We have so many, you know, we have, I don't know, I think we have like 700 blog posts. Many of them rank very well for important terms, so we get a ton of traffic from Google. But we do get a fair amount from social as well. So if you have Google Analytics going, remember, acquisition, all traffic, channels, and then social, you can just click on social. And then it's going to break it down for you even further. And remember, we have the time period here. This is February 1st to February 29th. And now we have some numbers. Okay, so Facebook was 22,700. So let's go back to our sheet. We're going to put in actual is 22,700. Let's go back. Where was that? There we go. I'm going to move that over here. Okay, and then Pinterest was 16,700. So let's go down to Pinterest, 16,700. And then Twitter was 6,500. So 6,500. So there you go. We have our actuals. Let's set our targets. Let's put this at 40,000. Let's try to get that to 40,000 next month. This one we can do 10,000, and this one we'll do I don't know, 25,000. Okay? So there we go. Those are our goals. Our objective is to increase social traffic. Our specific key metrics we're measuring are traffic from Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest, and our goal is to get 40,000 visitors from Facebook, 10,000 from Twitter, and 25,000 from Pinterest. And there are actuals over here. We can see where we're at. Now, what we do internally, remember when I showed you that our own sheet, you can see that we put this color coding here, right? This red, yellow, and green. You can do the same thing for your own sheet here. You can do conditional formatting, which is a little bit complex. You really don't need to. What you can just do is these are all between 50 and 70, so you can just go up there and you can make those yellow. I think that's the yellow we used. Let's use this one. And then these ones are all between there too, so you can make those yellow as well. Oops. Let's go back here. This one. Okay, cool. And like I did before, I'm going to put those over into March here. Okay, cool. Once I go out and do get the Twitter and Pinterest as well, I'm going to have these set here. And now I have March sitting in front of me. I have my goals, and I have whether I'm going to, and I'm keeping myself accountable. And you know, I've set my key results, and now I'm ready to rock and roll. And that brings me to the last part of our webinar today, which is tactics. So what I did is I just copied the objective and the key results into this sheet, which is called tactics. And this is where you can just brainstorm. Let's move these over actually. And the objectives as well. Move those over to tactics. Okay, cool. So now I have. I'm gonna make this formatting. Yep. This. Okay, so it's simple enough to set your goals, right? It's simple enough to set your goals and your key results. But in the end, what's going to determine whether you achieve those goals is tactics. The things that you actually do, the actions you take. So this is where you brainstorm. You think, okay, I got to increase number of new fans. What's a tactic I can use? Obvious thing is Facebook like ads, right? And I don't have anything prepared here. I'm just saying, these are the things that come off the top of my head. Increase number of new fans. You could get more viral, get more posts to go viral. We actually get a lot of new fans from our viral posts that we get out there. So come over to this sheet, the tactics sheet, and just start brainstorming. Think about, just type in a bunch of things that you think will could help you achieve these key results, and then go out and do them, because you are now accountable, and you gotta take action. So that pretty much wraps things up for this webinar, at least for my content. what I wanted to say is next week, we're going to dive deeper into the actual metrics, okay? So let me get back here on camera again. Okay, cool. Hey guys, I'm back. So, we really, this webinar was more about the kind of philosophy behind goal setting, which we started with, my own life goals and why it's important, what doesn't get measured, doesn't get managed. I want you guys out there to start managing your goals and by way of measuring your progress. So we talked about goals. Then I introduced you guys to OKRs, objective and key results. Then I shared with you the OKR sheet that I created for y'all. I want you guys to go out. I want you to copy that, make your own Google sheet, start filling in your own metrics. And then next, we only covered some general stuff, right? Some really high-level stuff. Get more engagement, get more reach, get more social traffic. Next week, we're going to dive deeper. We're going to dive deeper into metrics that you probably may have never even considered that will help you succeed on social media. And we're probably going to have some special guests to help us do that. As you guys know, we're not really a metrics company so much. We're more about finding content and getting it out there on social. But we have a lot of partners who just are masters at that. So we're going to get some awesome guests to come on and teach you more about the metrics you should be looking at, the metrics that are really going to help you achieve those O's, right? Those objectives that you set. And so we're going to just go further with that. So with that, I'm going to open it up to questions and turn things over to Rebecca to come back on here.
Yeah, awesome. Wow. I wondered how you were going to take everything just with OKRs and really funnel that down into 30, 45 minutes, and you did it. Oh my gosh. And that spreadsheet is totally awesome. I didn't even realize that you had put that together. Oh my gosh. Yeah, people are going to love that.
Yeah, in the end, it's really not that complicated, guys. All you're doing is you're setting your goals and you're just identifying the metrics that tell you whether or not you're achieving those goals, and then you're keeping yourself accountable.
Well, and that's what I love about the spreadsheet that you put together, because I know as a company, when we all transitioned from, what we've probably all become accustomed to, KPIs, just really putting your goals together, OKRs was something, it was a shift, a huge shift in how you go about looking at your goals. And it was hard to wrap our head around. So it can feel very scary and overwhelming. And I love that you showed how to take it and make it manageable and make it simple. It doesn't have to be difficult to manage all of that information and that data. But I think that's the hardest part is, where do I get started? And so you've really set people up for success.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't mention, which is very important. The beauty of this system, guys, the most awesome thing about this system, in my opinion, is that once you have this all set up, once you have your spreadsheet all filled in, you know exactly what you need to do every single day, right? So you can come on and, a lot of us get up in the morning and we think, okay, well, what do we got to do today? What are the important things I got to do? And then somehow we get lost in our email, we get lost doing this task or that task, and we don't stay focused and we don't achieve, our potential. And the cool thing about the OKR system is that you wake up every day, you know exactly what you have to focus on, because your whole, reason of being is to get those numbers into the green, right? You want to get those numbers into the green so you can reset the targets and achieve the next level. So that's one of my favorite things about this, is that it makes it very crystal clear what you got to do every single day to achieve your business goals.
Well, especially as a team, rather than everybody being somewhat siloed, we're all working together towards the same goals. So every single one of us, we roll up into each other. So we're helping support the company, but also supporting one another get to that next level. And what a difference, I think, in camaraderie, in just our ability to interact and support and really cheer each other on. We do weekly calls, that do exactly that, where we're all accountable to one another. And that can be really scary too, I think, for a lot of people, especially if you've been an entrepreneur on your own, and now all of a sudden you find yourself in a situation where maybe you do have a couple of team members, and there is that fear of transparency. And what you just did is showed our entire company culture in that we are totally transparent. You're sharing our Google Analytics and our Facebook Insights, and I think we need to not be afraid to strip, all of that away, that pretense of who we are pretending or trying to be, and in reality, where are we at? Because if we can't do that, then what good are we to each other in helping us get towards those?
Yeah, you can't hide behind numbers, like if numbers are, you can't, spin them really. They're just they are what they are, and when you can see everyone else's and everyone else can see yours, pressure's on, baby. You got to perform, and you can also reach out for help, and everyone understands where you're at and what you're trying to do. So definitely recommend this.
Yeah, for sure. It's tough, it's scary, but is it worth it? It has completely, as a team, I think turned us around in what we focus on, what we're working towards. Yeah, and like you said, I think it allows you to get up, wake up every day and work and be on purpose instead of how we can often be, especially in social media, where bing, 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 latest shiny object. We're like, oh, how about this? How about this? That never happens to any of us. And instead, we can say, now, wait a second, does that shiny object actually help you in achieving that key result, in achieving that objective? And you have to be honest in your answer of, probably not.
Yep.
So why are you... why are you spending time there? And we've all had to do that hard assessment and take a good hard look at, where are we spending our time and does it actually make sense? So I think it's cool there too, where it helps you come to your own conclusion and really answer a lot of those questions of, should I take this next project on, or should I be spending time here or there or wherever? You can answer those pretty quickly.
Definitely.
Cool stuff. All right. So as always, we'll be putting together a follow-up blog post as well as a follow-up email. So we'll get you a copy of that. That link that Josh had shared to the Excel spreadsheet, and then we'll also get you a copy of this replay of the training, so you'll have both of those that you can go back and listen over and over and over again if you get stuck in really trying to figure out how to get all of your own information into that spreadsheet. And then we'll get you all the details, so everybody that was signed up here today and for our previous trainings, we'll get you all of the details on that next training, the one that Josh was talking about, the more advanced strategies of, okay, so now I have this spreadsheet, I've got all these ideas on what I should be tracking now, how do I actually do that, and what are those metrics that matter to my company? Because that's another struggle for a lot of people, is figuring those out.
Yeah, and Stephanie was asking where you get reach and engagement numbers for Twitter and Pinterest. I think we're going to dive into that next time, where we can get all this data. So definitely come around next time. Do explore a little bit in the meantime this week, and then next week we'll jump into that.
Sounds good. All right. Did we have any other questions that we hadn't hit? I think you touched on a lot of it.
Yeah, I think we got them.
That I had seen. Okay. All right. Well, thank you to everybody that joined us here today, everybody that's watching the replay. I appreciate you, and we will see you on the next training.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye.